You know this hat thing that's going on, the hat bracket that's happening here. I think Josh Schmidt, producer, morning show, like started this thing. So we're having listeners vote on, or followers on social media vote on our favorite hats. And one of my hats that's entered, it's white, and I wear it golfing, and it just gets my hands, like it gets really dirty. And so I just ordered a little hat rack for the dishwasher.
Dishwasher.
That's a way to safely wash a baseball cap. Is you put it in it's got a form-fitting bottom, and then it closes over the top, and it protects the hat from being damaged in the dishwasher. And you got to make sure you don't use detergents that are too heavy. I don't know. I got to do a little more research.
Not hat friendly.
Yeah, right. And so I completed during the break. I did this, right? Big box store, and the final confirmation comes up, and it just said, "It's time to get excited. Your order's on the way."
Oh, no kidding!
I ordered a rack to wash a baseball cap in a dishwasher. I mean, I'm going to be glad to have. I hope it works.
Here we go.
I hope it works. But it's time to get excited. Your order's on the way.
Everything's the worst. Sal Capaccio on the West Shore Hotline. Sal, do you wash your hats?
Oh, you know what? It's really funny you say that. I really don't. I don't wear caps very often. But apparently Yana just bought something, and I don't know what this looks like. She just told me Max has a cap that he's been wearing at baseball for a while, and it's dirty. And she said, "Oh, I just bought something to wash caps with." Apparently you put the cap inside something and wash it
in the dishwasher.
The same thing. She bought something recently that we put our sneakers in, and instead of putting the sneakers just in the washer, you put them in this bag and it closes up, and it's just got these I don't know what you call them, like fluffy things on it, and it washes the sneakers without making them super wet inside. Really cool.
Washing machine, though, that sounds normal.
Right.
Dishwasher.
Yeah. This is what I was tipped off about this because I might have said something about this white hat getting dirty, and I don't want to just buy a new one. But I'm a little.
Makes sense that you'd want to wash them.
Yeah, and I've scrubbed it. I've used dish detergent and a scrub brush and I've gotten decent results, but it's really tedious.
Yeah.
And so, all right, well, somebody told me about this hat rack dishwasher idea, so I'm going to take it for a spin, and if it destroys my hat, you'll hear all about it.
You're going to take it for a spin cycle.
Yeah.
Got it. All right, Sal. So we've got injury news today. We've been waiting forever. Trey White not practicing, groin injury. So we have some clarity, I suppose, on his status.
Yeah, that's right. It is officially a groin injury for Tre'Davious White. Also a groin injury for Christian Benford. So they're both listed with groin injuries. The difference is Tre'Davious White did not practice today. Christian Benford did practice on a limited basis. And then we had Keon Coleman show up on the practice report with a groin injury. I will say, though, guys, I was out there all day. I mean, Keon Coleman practiced. I saw him afterwards in the field house walking around. So, I mean, hopefully, it was just something that they wanted to back off him today. All right. So tomorrow would be the key day to look there. But tomorrow's also the key day for Tre'Davious White. Sean McDermott did not rule him out for the game on Sunday night. But tomorrow's the big day. If he doesn't practice tomorrow, I think that's not a good sign, obviously, for his availability. If he does practice in some capacity tomorrow, we'll still be wondering, what his status is.
How much reading between the lines are you comfortable doing about how he sounds about these people, right, to varying degrees? I felt like maybe Benford, they were just being really careful, and he did do more, he did something today, but I'm a little freaked out that he's even at a limited stage, and of course, Tre'Davious White not there at all. I mean, I don't know, Sal. They could get pretty thin against a team that you don't want to be thin against.
No doubt, but I agree with you that it sounded more like, hey, I was out there today, and Benford seemed like, to me, it wasn't, I don't know what he's not doing, you know what I mean, in the reps once we leave. But, I mean, I have video of him, and he's moving around, and he's doing, pre-practice drills and positional drills. So I think that, to me, is a good sign. So I wouldn't worry too much about that right now, but sure enough, if it's, we get later in the week and he's still there, we'll find out Friday. Sean will do his first radio interview with me on the Extra Point Show Friday that he does every week and does a injury report right there. That being said, I think it's trending well for Khalil Shakir. He was a full participant, so obviously that's the case. As I said, Keon Coleman's on the report, but kind of saw him there and, even after practice, so that didn't seem like anything necessarily. Tyler Bass still dealing with the left hip and groin, the pelvic area. That's still a little concerning, but they haven't signed a kicker. And then we know Dwayne Carter's not going to play. He is on the injury report because he is still an active player, which we can talk about all those, roster technicalities in a minute if you want. But Tre'Davious White's the one that I would be most concerned about, obviously. He's the only one in this entire list who did not practice today other than Dwayne Carter, who we know is out.
Right. And this goes back almost 2 weeks now, before the trip to Tampa. Was the Trey White practice injury, didn't know what he was dealing with. We knew that they didn't put him on IR or anything, which seemed like at least somewhat of a good sign. It's the same question, Sal, like what do the Bills do without him if they don't have him back? And, if you haven't said so, what would be your, I don't know, I don't want to say guess, but it's a groin, it's 2 weeks. He didn't go to IR. I guess we really don't know. It's probably not even worth guessing at whether he'll make it for Sunday.
Well, first of all, let's just say because he didn't go on IR, I think that's a sign of confidence that he'll be back at some point in the next few weeks. That might not do anything for Sunday, but at least we know that it's not anything super long term, which is good news. When it comes to Sunday, I think you could do it a couple different ways here, guys. Really, I think there's three options. You have Jamarcus Ingram, who's been in the system for 4 years now. You have Dorian Strong, who they drafted as a rookie. Christian Benford started as a sixth-round rookie the first year. And you have Dane Jackson, who you could elevate from the practice squad to start. You could also elevate Dane as an insurance and still start one of the other guys. And I do think it's a very interesting call if you want to go with either Ingram or Strong, because they could very well feel one is better than the other and just say, we're putting him there. They could also say, look, we need Jamarcus Ingram to be able to play different roles for us. He plays inside and outside, dime safety. He could do a lot of things that we kind of need to, if we need him for that, we got to have him available, and he's got to work there and learn that all week. Whereas Dorian Strong, you give him one thing to work on all week, right? He's a rookie, outside corner. This is your guy. This is where you line up. Go do it. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case either.
What is Strong's... what's his game?
Strong suit?
Like, yeah, sorry. I was walking into that and trying to duck it.
Hey.
But what's his game? I mean, he came up, through the spring and into the summer now and then, and it was interesting. I'm trying to remember who. I think it was maybe Matt Perino a couple weeks ago I talked to on a day Mike was away, and said, I'm one of the few in Bill's, on the beat here that hasn't really seen it from Dorian Strong. I think it was Matt that said that. So, but mostly it's been positive reviews. What's his game, Sal? What is he, if he plays, what are his best features and what are his weaknesses?
It's going to sound funny because you just said it, but it's true. He's strong. He's physical. It's what he is. I mean, it's funny. Jamarcus Ingram actually said that to us today, too, by the way. You guys have it. Maybe Zach can play the clip later, because I asked Jamarcus Ingram, what have you seen from Dorian Strong? And he said, his name's Strong and he is strong. That's what he said. And he's physical. He's a physical player. He's, if you could draw a picture of what an NFL corner should look like, or, figure it in your mind, and this is the guy. Guys, he's a little taller. He's not super tall. He's long. And he's well built, right? I mean, he's a little bit on the thinner side, but he's well built. And by the way, background on that is his dad is a professional bodybuilder and professional weightlifter. So he knows his way around a weight room, right? He knows what this is all about, and being ready to, go play in an NFL game and being physical and able to handle that part of it. So I think that's the big part of his game. When he started out at camp, I really liked him the first few days, and then I didn't really notice him that much after that. But it wasn't because he wasn't doing anything special, but also that's a good thing, right? Because you're not noticing that he's getting beaten all the time. So I think from that standpoint, when you can have a rookie come into this roster and he goes a whole camp and you're not talking about bad plays that he's making or being out of position, that's a really good thing. I don't need to see all the wild plays. You'd love to see that. But I think that speaks volumes to what they might feel about him and his ability to maybe at least step in and play a role that they could be comfortable with.
Yeah, of course they can be wrong about this stuff just like anyone can, but I wonder if they're not feeling the need to go out and get someone, Rasul Douglas, who I know has signed, Stephon Gilmore, whatever, someone, a name that you would recognize, and go okay, well, at least we got a veteran there, might be an indication that they think this kid, if he has to do it, can do it.
I would say that's probably correct. No doubt they could do it that way, and they could think that, and I wouldn't doubt it. Getting somebody like Rasul Douglas, obviously he knows the system. You go out and get somebody who also doesn't know the system, that's a little different. That's a little more time. This kid's been here since the draft, rookie mini camp, OTAs, mini camp, training camp, all of that. And let's remember, they do have Dane Jackson on the practice squad, who they signed. And they have Max Harrison, who's coming back in another 3 weeks, hopefully, right? So I think a lot of that has to go into it because you have to play the long game. You go out and get someone like that, you got to think about what that means, over the next 5-6 weeks as well for that player in your team.
You'd have to think if White can't go Sunday, Jackson gets elevated regardless of whether he's the presumed starter or not, right?
To me, I do. I do think that because, like, the way I look at it, I know, like, Cam Lewis, I think, on the official roster is listed as a safety, but he's their backup nickel, right? Like, he's not an outside corner. We know that. So Cam Lewis isn't an outside corner. You got Taron Johnson and Cam Lewis there. Christian Benford's an outside corner. Jamarcus and Dorian, that's 3. You probably want to have one extra guy on top of the fact that you could have a guy that could play special teams, whether that if you do elevate him, that could be him or that could be one of the other guys because you have him kind of on the ready to be able to be, your extra guy. Jordan Hancock, by the way, did practice today. He's not on the injury report, which means he practiced in full. So that's really good. And to me, Jordan Hancock solidifies that safety part of it too when you talk about all of this.
If your name were Strong, you'd have to be strong. I mean, then you got the dad's a bodybuilder, like the pressure. You would have, you'd have to be a strong guy if you had the last name Strong. I don't think you could.
You got to be strong, and you got to look strong too.
Everything.
You just can't. You can't be a little slot. No dad bod.
It sets the tone for your life. I think it sets the tone for your life if your last name were Strong. Sal Capaccio on the West Her hotline. One more, at least on the secondary here. You put it all together. How about this matchup for this situation? Like, if they are down a guy and then their depth is being challenged and questioned, are the Ravens a team where you might say, I mean, they're so good, but are they a team where you might say, like, it's not the worst matchup because of Henry, because of Jackson, maybe it's still only one tight end, but middle of the field? Would you say anything like that?
I think it's a very tough matchup for the Bills against this team the way they play. Like, I know that the Chiefs have beaten the Bills in the playoffs, right? But the Bills have beaten them in the regular season. I think matchup-wise, like how each team wants to play, I think the Bills matching up against the Chiefs, I've always felt a little better about that versus against the Ravens because of how they play. Now, I will say part of that is because the Bills have always been, as you guys know, in this regime especially, traditionally a lighter, more athletic defense. That's how they want to operate. They play a lot of nickel defense. They have played base against the Ravens. But the difference is this year, what they did was they went out and they got bigger in the offseason. They went out and they drafted Deion Walker and TJ Sanders, who wasn't the biggest guy, but they bulked up on the interior. And Larry Ogunjobi, who's not around, we know that. Landon Jackson on the edge, and I don't even know if he gets a game day jersey here. Joey Bosa, obviously. Joey Bosa's a much bigger dude than people realize maybe because he's this pass rusher, but he can play the run. He can set the edge. And I just like that they've done that. Shaq Thompson is on this team. I think Shaq Thompson could figure into this game plan. Like, Shaq Thompson, the guy they kept on the 53, I believe he has a role in this team. I think that's going to be putting him on the field sometimes in base defense sets. We'll see if they use it this week. And if not, you do have Dorian Williams there. Last year, that's what the Bills did. So
in the playoffs, right? They mixed some of that in, 3 linebackers.
They did.
Right?
Yep, they did. And they did it. They've done it before. Remember, I think they did it in Baltimore. And even though they didn't have Milano Bernard or Taron Johnson, we know how that looked and worked out. So to answer your question, Mike, like, I still think it's a tough matchup because the Ravens are that type of team. But the Bills have kind of countered here a little bit with their personnel. And I would say with the Ravens' injuries, Isaiah Likely and Patrick Ricard, like, those are 2 really big parts of their running game, actually. And, like, I think that makes it a little different here.
Ricard, for sure, is huge. And he did not practice again today, nor did Likely. Sal, part of the dilemma with going heavier like that, using 3 linebackers like they did some against Baltimore last season, is it means you're taking Taron Johnson off the field, right? And he's one of your best defenders, so you don't want to do that. Is there, and I'm trying to phrase this in a way that's not going to make me sound like turn Rasmus Ristolainen into a winger guy, but is there something to be done with Taron Johnson outside of playing? Like, if they want to go heavier, can they move him somewhere else and still keep him on the field? Like, can he play safety? Can he play boundary corner? No, probably, right?
Not really. I mean, I would say it this way, Bulldog. Would I put it past Taron Johnson to be able to do those things? No. If you said to Taron Johnson, go play safety, he's going to go do it. If you said go play boundary corner, he's going to do it. It's not what he's trained to do. There's just other guys who are better at it. There's guys that have been watching film all week. They're ready to go do that. They understand the markings on the field, the boundary type of things, their run fits. It's so different. I think for a guy like Taryn, I'd say I think safety would fit more than corner because of run fits, because he's in the middle of the field. Right? He understands what he's looking at from tackle to tackle a lot more than versus being on the boundary. And it is tough. Listen, I've had this discussion with Bobby Babich. He's right there with you, which is, yeah, we know. Like, that's tough for us to say, let's take Taryn off the field. But unfortunately, that's just kind of the reality of what you have to do when you want to go base sometimes.
If you know, what is the significance of the reported Dion Dawkins restructuring? Is there something imminent from it?
Mm-hmm. No, I would say nothing imminent. Now, anything's always possible, right? If someone, they feel like, hey, there's a guy out there we really want, we could do that. I mean, we're at Wednesday in week 1. It's probably not going to happen now. And even into next week. This is something that's pretty common around this time, guys, which is you need money to operate throughout the year because of injury replacement costs. What an injury replacement cost is exactly what it sounds like, which is a guy gets hurt, you got to sign somebody. That's money you didn't account for that now suddenly you have to pay for a player who wasn't on your roster previously. In the offseason, only the top 51 salaries count against the salary cap. Once they got to last week and the final 53, all 53 count, and they had to get under the cap. So they had to do this just to literally be cap compliant. Then they freed up some extra money because as the year goes on, you're going to start eating into that money because you have to sign guys because guys get hurt or someone, hey, there's a guy out there that, we just want to add to the roster or whatever, and now you have that ability. So I would say, no, nothing is imminent, and this is pretty much procedural from that point. But it gives them some room to operate.
Speaking of procedural, can you explain what's going on with the practice squad IR involving Gabe Davis and Jordan Poyer?
Yes. So, okay. I don't know if the NFL transaction wire is out yet. It might be. But when it comes out, you're going to see, people are going to report, fans are going to see, Jordan Poyer has been released from the practice squad. He will be literally re-signed within minutes after that. He has to be released in order to sign Gabe Davis to the practice squad. The reason it's Jordan Poyer is because it's got to be a veteran, because you're only allowed a certain number of veteran players on your practice squad. So by having both of them, they'd be over that number. So they say to Jordan, hey, it's the old Reeve Ferguson thing. Go wait out in the parking lot. He really doesn't have to wait in the parking lot, though. Hey, we're going to release you. We're going to bring Gabe on. Okay, so then you say, well, wait a minute. They still have to then, what are they going to do? Because they'll still have too many. Well, then Gabe will go on practice squad injured, so he won't count. He'll literally be like an inactive practice squad player, which frees that spot back up for Jordan Poyer to resign.
Okay.
Then from there, Gabe Davis will have to miss 4 weeks, and he cannot practice with the team during that 4-week time, the 4-game time. After 4 games, Gabe Davis can then start practicing again with the practice squad. Like any other player, they would have a certain amount of window to activate him either to the practice squad or put him on the 53.
Okay, this isn't really that surprising then. I mean, he had to wait all summer for an offer because he didn't pass his physical in Jacksonville, if I remember right, and then wasn't considered fully healthy. So this just seems like more of an indication that is the case, and it'll be a while before we hear from him if we ever do.
Yeah, and one more thing on rosters here while we're at it. So Dwayne Carter has not yet been placed on injured reserve. Now, that could happen tonight, tomorrow, whatever. I would also say it might not happen at all this week, and the reason would be if you're on the roster week 1 and you're a vested veteran, a guy that has 4 or more years, your salary is guaranteed for the year. So let's just say they put Dwayne Carter on IR and they sign Jordan Phillips, up for the 53. Now suddenly Sunday, Jordan Phillips' salary gets guaranteed for the year. Well, if you're already going to have 7 inactive players essentially, you might just want to roll into the season into week 1 with 52 guys and not worry about it until next week when you don't have to guarantee someone's salary, if that makes sense.
Okay. While we have you, hypothetically, Travis Hunter, I want to see if Sal would say what Bulldog said. Travis Hunter has this insane rookie year. It's historic. Touchdown catches, interceptions. He's coming close to playing full-time on both sides. But there's a better offensive rookie and a better defensive rookie, say Genty or Abdul Carter. Doesn't matter who. Does Hunter in that scenario just not win an award? Like he won't win offensive or defensive rookie of the year because there's someone better? Would they ever would anybody ever sort of vote differently? Because come on, right? He's just made history. There's no place for him to win. The NFL might end up sort of jammed in that scenario because there's no actual rookie of the year per se.
Okay, so there's, 50 voters, I think? I do not have a vote. I did not hear what Bulldog said on this. If I'm voting in that scenario, I'm not voting for Travis Hunter in either category. There are two separate awards. There's an Offensive Rookie of the Year. Was he or was he not? No, he wasn't. Defensive Rookie of the Year. Was he or was he not? No, he wasn't. That's how I would vote.
You wouldn't vote for him first in either category. You vote maybe second or down the line. But
you're saying there's a guy better than him on offense and a guy better than him in defense, but he was awesome on both sides of the ball either way.
Yeah. Right.
Would I vote for him first? No, I would not. I would vote for the person I thought would deserve it on each side of the ball.
I think we all would. How does it feel to do that, though? How would it feel to do that? Like, hey, these are the rules?
Totally righteous.
I would have no issue with it. I mean, that's, hey, if he devoted everything to offense, maybe he would have won the award, but that's not how his team decided to play him, right? So I wouldn't care. I mean, it's kind of similar to me. Like, there's probably guys that could win MVP at quarterback, but their team doesn't play a certain style or way, so they don't have the ability to win MVP, right? So, hey, that's just the way it goes. Saquon Barkley was an amazing, what he did last year. Who's to say maybe teams, if they gave the same amount of volume to guys, I don't know. I'm just using examples here. So I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, that's just
okay.
Maybe I would be also thinking about, I would want to make sure I tell people, hey, I think this guy did awesome, but, obviously I can't vote for him. And, make sure he got his love in some way.
Joe Burrow had the best quarterback season last year of any quarterbacks and didn't win the award. Because it's not the best quarterback of the league award. It's the MVP award, and there's different criteria, and so
he should have been better at defense.
Kind of how it goes, right? He should have had some interceptions.
Yeah. This is not the Hunter scenario is not that far-fetched, really. Like, that is very possibly what will happen this year. All right, Sal, you're going to be out tonight?
Yeah, so hope everybody can come by and say hi. Matt Bove and I are going to be live at the BFLO store on Transit Road, Transit Town. That's going to be starting at 6:30. We're doing an Always Game Day in Buffalo podcast. Right after this, after I get off with you guys, I'm headed over there. I'll be there around 6 o'clock setting up for the podcast. We'll be there about 6:30. We're going to start. We usually go for about 45 minutes. We're going to hang out after for a little while, say hi to people. So come on by. And if you can't make it, it will be live. It'll be on X at Sal Sports on my YouTube page as well. People can comment. And also, while we're there, so everybody knows, if anybody's interested in the Buffalo Football Legends cruise at all that I've been promoting with Thurman and Don Beebe and Steve Tasker and those guys, Nick Ryberg, who owns Sojourn Travel, will be with us tonight, and he will be there to answer any questions people have.
All right, very good. We'll talk again tomorrow, I guess.